Why do women hide their deepest desires? Think about it. Every relationship has layers, and on the surface you see affection, routine, and comfort. But behind closed doors, in the corners of her mind, there may be a craving she'll never say out loud. Not because she doesn't trust you, but because the fantasy feels too raw, too dangerous, maybe even too dark. Men often believe women want only tenderness and romance, but that's not the whole picture. There's another side, an unspoken thrill that lives in secrecy. It's not the kind of thing she'll casually drop into conversation. In fact, the more important you are to her, the more carefully she'll guard it. This is where most men miss out. They overlook the hidden pulse of desire that could transform intimacy, passion, and connection. And once you understand it, you won't just see women differently, you'll see relationships in a completely new light. Stick around, because in this video we're uncovering the one dark fantasy women never confess. Make sure to subscribe and hit like, because this insight could change your love life forever. Point number 1, the secret she'll never say out loud. Have you ever looked into a woman's eyes and felt there was something more, something just out of reach, that she wasn't telling you? Maybe she smiled, maybe she leaned in closer, but deep down you sensed an unspoken tension, like a story she'll never put into words. That's the secret we're talking about. Every woman carries one. It's not about dishonesty, it's about vulnerability. Think back to a moment when you cared so much for someone that you hesitated to tell them the whole truth, afraid it might change the way they saw you. Have you ever been there? That's exactly what happens in her world too. Picture this, she's laughing with you. Maybe her hand brushes yours, and for a second you feel that spark. But inside she's holding back a desire, a craving that's both thrilling and terrifying. It's not that she doesn't want you to know, it's that the fantasy feels too raw, too daring, and she fears it might scare you away. What would you do if she revealed it? Would you lean in with curiosity, or would you freeze, unsure how to respond? These are the questions she silently asks herself, which is why the secret stays buried. Here's the truth, her silence isn't rejection, it's protection. She guards that hidden fantasy like a fragile glass, afraid the wrong hands will shatter it. And yet it's often the very thing that could ignite passion and deepen connection in ways most men never imagine. So pause for a moment. Have you ever wondered what's left unsaid between you and the women in your life? What sparks might be hiding just beneath the surface, waiting for trust, safety, and understanding to bring them to light? Because sometimes, the most powerful truths are the ones she'll never say out loud, until you're ready to hear them. Point number 2. Why women guard their darkest cravings. Have you ever noticed how some of the most meaningful things in life are also the hardest to say out loud? Think about it. When you've had a dream, a secret, or even a desire that felt too raw, didn't you hesitate before sharing it? Maybe you feared being judged, misunderstood, or laughed at. Women feel that same weight when it comes to their darkest cravings. For her, it's not simply about keeping secrets, it's about protection. Imagine if she let you in completely, only to see confusion or rejection in your eyes. That sting would cut deeper than silence ever could. So instead she builds walls, not out of distance, but out of fear that her deepest desires won't be met with the care they deserve. Picture her lying beside you at night, her head on your chest. She's close, she's safe, yet a part of her heart is hidden. Not because she doesn't want to share, but because the craving feels too risky. What if you pull away? What if you see her differently? What if the bond between you breaks? Now ask yourself, have you ever felt that same fear? That moment where revealing the truth felt heavier than keeping it inside? If so, you already understand her silence. The irony is, those guarded cravings often hold the key to unlocking passion and intimacy most men only dream about. But she won't hand them over to just anyone. She waits for the man who makes her feel safe enough, secure enough, loved enough, to let those walls fall. So the question becomes, are you the one who creates that space for her? Or are you unknowingly confirming her fear that some desires are better left unspoken? Because once you realize why she guards them, you also realize that the lock on her fantasy has less to do with her and more to do with how you show up. Point number 3, the thrill behind silence and secrecy. Have you ever noticed how the things left unsaid often feel louder than the words spoken? Silence, when it carries weight, can be intoxicating. For women, the secrecy around their deepest desires isn't just fear, it's part of the thrill itself. Think back to the first time you had a crush. Do you remember how powerful those hidden feelings were? You didn't even have to say a word, yet your heart raced when you saw them. That same rush lives inside her when she holds on to a craving she never reveals. The secrecy itself becomes a form of excitement. Imagine her sitting across from you smiling, but her mind wandering into places she'll never describe. You feel her warmth, you sense a spark, but you can't quite name it. That mystery, that not knowing, is what keeps the energy alive. Have you ever felt that magnetic pull, where the unspoken feels almost more powerful than the spoken? This is why women don't always rush to confess what they secretly desire. The very act of keeping it tucked away heightens its intensity. The hidden longing becomes a private world only she can step into, and when you're near, you unknowingly brush against the edges of that secret, which only makes the connection feel more electric. Here's the paradox. Silence doesn't mean absence. It means presence charged with possibility. The secrecy fuels imagination, and imagination is often more powerful than reality. So ask yourself how much of the attraction you felt in your own life came not from what was said, but from the things left hanging in the air? How many moments became unforgettable not because of words, but because of the tension of silence? For women, their unspoken fantasies live in that same space, where secrecy turns into a thrill and silence becomes the most seductive language of all. Point number 4. How men misread female desire. Have you ever thought you knew exactly what a woman wanted, only to realize later you were completely off the mark? It happens more often than men like to admit. The biggest mistake isn't that we don't care, it's that we assume. Men often think desire is simple: flowers, romance, maybe physical affection. But women's desires are layered, complex, and often far from the surface. When she hesitates, we misread it as disinterest. When she goes quiet, we think she's content. But sometimes, that silence is her way of holding back, a craving she doesn't feel safe enough to share. Think back to a time when you were with someone you cared about, and you thought you were giving them everything they wanted. Did you ever sense deep down that something was missing? Maybe she smiled, maybe she nodded, but her eyes told a different story. Have you ever wondered what that unspoken story really was? Here's where most men get it wrong. They confuse comfort with passion. They assume consistency means satisfaction, but what she desires often lives outside the routine. It's in the unexpected, the daring, the unspoken things that spark her soul. And when men misread that, the connection quietly weakens. Not because love is gone, but because desire has no room to breathe. So pause for a moment. What if she doesn't actually want perfect? What if what she craves is intensity, mystery, or even a side of you that you rarely show? Could it be that she's waiting, watching, hoping you'll see past the surface and into the fire she's hiding? Because the truth is, when men misread female desires, they don't just miss out on passion, they miss out on knowing the deepest part of her. Point number 5. Unlocking passion by understanding her fantasy. Imagine what would happen if you could step into the hidden part of her world, the part she's kept locked away from, even from you. Not to control it, not to judge it, but to understand it. That's where true passion begins. Every woman carries a fantasy she guards like treasure. The moment she feels safe enough to share it, or even let you sense it, something powerful shifts. Walls come down, barriers dissolve, and suddenly, the love you thought you knew deepens into a connection you never imagined possible. Think back to the best moments in your own relationships. Was it really the gifts, the words, the routines? Or was it the times when you felt fully seen and understood, without having to explain yourself? That's exactly what she longs for, a space where her darkest craving can exist without fear, where her fantasy is not a secret but a bridge between you. The key isn't to demand her truth. It's to create an atmosphere of trust, curiosity, and acceptance so strong that she wants to bring you into it willingly. Can you imagine how much passion and intimacy would awaken if she knew you wouldn't flinch, but instead embrace the depths of her desire? Because when you understand her fantasy, not just hear it, but truly honor it, you unlock more than her passion. You unlock her trust, her vulnerability, and her willingness to give you the kind of love most men will never experience. So ask yourself, are you willing to go beyond the surface and meet her where her silence begins? Because that's where the fire truly lives. We've uncovered a lot together in this video, from the secrets women hold close, to the reasons behind their silence, to the hidden thrill and the misunderstandings men often fall into, and finally how unlocking her fantasy isn't about chasing perfection, but about creating trust, curiosity, and connection strong enough to handle her deepest truths. If there's one thing I hope you take with you, it's this: Love isn't built on what's said alone. It's built on what's felt, trusted and embraced even in silence. The passion you're searching for often lives in the spaces between words, waiting for you to listen, not just with your ears, but with your presence. Thank you for spending this time with me. I don't take it lightly, you could be anywhere else. But you chose to be here, and that means a lot. If you felt something today, if this sparked reflection on your own journey, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Your stories make this community stronger. And if you'd like to keep exploring these truths together, consider subscribing. And giving this video a like, it's a simple way to stay connected. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.